Good to tap in with you, man. It's been like a minute, obviously, since we like connected and stuff like that. Super dope to be able to just like tap in and have a conversation about, just like your journey, your story, like different things
Yeah,
like that. You know what I mean? So, you know, we was able to link up like a couple, or I guess last week.
last week, yep.
Kind of chop it up. You hit me up, just was like, yo, we got RootCon coming up.
Absolutely.
It'd be sick if you like participate in like in like the panel and whatnot. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Definitely got the history there, you know what I'm saying? Like, always respect what you've been on and what you've been up to. Like, my thing is like success stories, bro. Like, I love to watch the progression of someone's like journey and career and life. And, so far, man, I've been seeing you do some like crazy things. So, the reason why I wanted you to be a part of the panel was just off that. Like, I know you've been places, you've done things, you know what I'm saying? You've experienced life and you're at a point where you want to pivot. And I feel like there's value in that story, you know what I'm saying? Tell that to other people.
It's cool to be able to like reconnect at like this moment in life, because we met, bro, 2011? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is over 10 years ago, like at Arizona State. And it was crazy, bro. I remember like, I think I had caught, like, you were selling like Jesus pieces and shit, and like the wooden ones and like tees and snapbacks.
Yes, sir.
And I had copped some stuff from you, man. And it was just like, then ever since then, just like being around Tempe and just like, getting involved with what you had going on.
Absolutely.
Very integral, like, piece to the journey. What was that experience like for you?
It was awesome, man. Like, honestly, I come from like a family of folks that like really don't have day jobs. Like, they hustle, bro. Like, if it's doing hair, if it's selling tickets, like ticket scalping niggas, like they deep in my family. And it's just like we got full of entrepreneurs, you know what I'm saying? So just growing up, like my grandma had baked goods, she had a daycare, aunties doing hair, like uncle selling tickets or, doing their thing with drugs or whatever it is, like just seeing people making their own money. Yeah. For me, it was just like, all right, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, it came like second nature, you know what I'm saying? Like in middle school, I sold candy, you know what I'm saying? So that was my thing. So, being in the ASU and that like the Jesus pieces and all that, that's just the progression of my hustle, you know what I'm saying? In middle school, high school, I sold candy, but when I got to college, it was just like, all right, let me get these aesthetics and these accessories and shirts. I had hats, you know what I'm saying? Shit that people maybe needed to go to the club or whatever. If they want to go out, I'll pull up with the Pro Club t-shirts. They're all white, they're all black, and folks just wearing the plain tees, and then throw on a hat, and then they got their little fit for a little party or whatever. And that was my thing. And the goal was to like raise enough money to get speakers and like do that thing. But like, the hustle was in me. Like, even though I was in school, like studying philosophy and English, like that was my plan B. My plan A was like building this Iron Root thing to be like a household name and like take it off from there.
You said you studied philosophy and like English. Tell me about that, bro. Like what was that like, and how's that been like influential on your life up until this point?
Yeah, man, it's definitely helped with like my perspective on things. Like, like just even having to take that coursework. Not saying that I was the greatest philosopher, but like it's just like having to go through that practice of like sitting on multiple sides of a situation, you know what I'm saying, and arguing for a case, and just like it allowed me to have perspective in all things that I do. That's why if an event doesn't go too well, like I don't stress too much. Like, you know what I'm saying, I understand that one, I'm a prayerful, gentleman. Like, I believe in God, so a lot of like my success and a lot of what I feel that I've achieved is due to my, relationship with God. So it's just like, I feel like, in terms of what it provides me is a sense of like security of like my thinking, like, my ability to like not stress too much. And like also when someone's like done me wrong, cause like it's business too, like being an artist and also being in business, for me, like philosophy has been super helpful because it's allowed me to like really just sit back and think like, bro, is this dude fucking with me or not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not like as a homie, but like just like, is he trying to play a game on me or not? You know what I'm saying? It's just allowed me to also like work off those relationships. Like, all right, don't trip too much. This is business. It's not like he's doing that to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's just trying to do whatever it takes to increase that bottom line. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like allowing me to kind of think a little more freely and like process those thoughts. And on the English side of things, more of the creative writing. So it's really just helped with the poetry, like getting my ideas out in the poetry. And ultimately it helps with like the types of things that I like to write about. Like I like to, all of my poetry is either about love or like some thought-provoking content where I'm like thinking about my life at one point, and like where I am today and like where I want to be and like what that means in relationship to like the person next to me. You know what I'm saying?
You're from like LA, you know, Inglewood, right? So what was that influence on how you just approach the city, approach building community,
right?
You know, and connecting with folks like locally, you know what I mean, like on campus and so on and so forth.
Yeah, man. I mean, touching back on like my whole family dynamic, like everybody being entrepreneurs in a sense and hustlers, like it was all around LA, Inglewood. Like we had the Inglewood swap meet there, full of like, you know, small businesses and everything like that. And just being in that environment, like it's super competitive, it's super like packed full of people, you know what I'm saying? So in order to leave your mark, in order to have some kind of like impact or to honestly survive, like you had to have something else besides like what you was doing. So like for me, when I got here, I was like, all right, it was cool that I'm, you know, in school, I'm learning, but like I really love this art stuff. I really love music. You know, the business side, that's like embedded in me, but I had to like figure out a way to like create a community, you know what I'm saying, to where I could like do music and do poetry, because like again, I'm the root, like I'm not the plant, I'm not the branches, like you know, I'm not usually the guy that's like shining in the front, you know what I'm saying, but I love to do the behind the scenes work and try to bring a community of people together to like do some stuff. So since I wanted to do music and poetry and I'm more low key, like you know what I'm saying, in order to do that, I need to tap in with some other people that got some talents, find a venue, you know what I'm saying, call it a thing and get some people to come through, you know, which became the I Am Root events. But like before I got there, it was just hustling and trying to get enough money to say like I got speakers or I can afford the space. Now let's everybody pull up and let's do this. You know what I'm saying?
And it was you and like some of your homies that were responsible for like, you know, creating opportunities for like people to be seen, people to come through, like be at the function, have fun. Like how did that come together?
Man, honestly, dude, it was rapping in the dorms. Like I was a producer making beats and like the homies would just come through and like we would just rap. And that's honestly how we met and like linked up. Speaking about Zill and like the homie Damo, the other Damo, Don Bush, like you know what I'm saying, they would come through, or not necessarily Don Bush on the rap stuff, but like he would be around, like he was homies, like you know what I'm saying. So in terms of like the party stuff specifically, like that was definitely Zill and like Damo's thing, like you know what I'm saying, because Zill was DJing in Hollywood and clubs in LA, and he honestly brought that energy, you know what I'm saying, with him. He was looking to DJ and ready to do it. Damo again from the city, like you know what I'm saying, real familiar with like the turn up life and really good with the graphics and the flyers. Like Damo was killing the flyers, so it honestly became like a little unit, you know what I'm saying, with other folks like you know tapped into that. So we would just connect on that level. And so when it came to the I Am Root events, like we would try to bring a little bit of that club top 40 vibe, you know what I'm saying, to our poetry events, though we were like dressed up nicely. So it was like a good fusion of just like great night out, you know what I'm saying? Like you could go turn up, and there'll be clubs in Scottsdale or like house parties at Gateway. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's definitely a spectrum of like options for people to go to. Or you can come through and hit the poetry event, and one of those two dudes is DJing, so you're still getting that turned up side of things, but then you're feeling enlightened at the end of the night, because like you know you're doing your poetry thing, and there's people in there, it's community, it's environment, and it's honestly a place where a lot of folks got to be able to like figure out what they wanted to do. Like even myself, like just working with the parties and stuff, like picking up the camera, taking pictures at the party every now and then, because like I don't be dancing and turning up too much, so you got to figure out like what's your role in that kind of dynamic, you know what I'm saying? So that's you know, it taught me some stuff too, just in terms of like collaborating with other people and finding your role and shit.
Because obviously I Am Root is a brand, you know, and that's the vision, man. So like how is that evolved like over time? Because you talk about the poetry events, you talk like obviously you got RootCon coming up, you know, all these different things. And so I'm curious about like, you spent so much time like building your brand, building I Am Root, and you're at a point now where maybe you want to make a pivot, or like, you know, the brand is kind of like self-sustainable in and of itself, and so you can now just kind of like branch off of that because you built the root, right? So I'm curious about like what that progression looks like, bro, and like what's next for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, honestly, man, like I'm trying to get to that point officially, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm close, but I feel like in the process of like building this whole thing, I did like lose who I am as Dom, like my Dom Root, like the person that I believe I am as a creative or as an individual, because it was like the things that I make. If I made a beat, it was going to an I Am Root video or some kind of promo. It was like everything that I created out of my brain became this thing to like promote and like lift I Am Root, you know what I'm saying? But I ran into a dilemma where it was like, yo, people will see me in the street and they're like, yo, I Am Root, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted that to be an idea I created, not like me, you know what I'm saying? My name is Dominique, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. but I Am Root is something that I created. So in terms of like that transition and that pivot, honestly, it's just been like carving out that lane for myself to be able to create other endeavors, you know what I'm saying, that's independent of I Am Root, so that it doesn't get confused or misconstrued, or the vibe of this thing doesn't have to have the I Am Root feel for it to be authentic to who I am, you know, as a person.
Definitely.
So like we still want to do the shows and the events, but like who I am as a person, like I grew up kind of in, you know, wanting to be enlightened and wanting to be around things that were like thought provoking. So when we talk about the brand and the events, like I want to step into that knowledge sharing space where I tap in with folks like yourself and folks like Travis and other folks in the community who will honestly have experiences that could be like beneficial to other people, like coming up, you know, learning the thing. Because like what we see today is I like to use the gaming community as an example. Somebody playing Call of Duty, they stream themselves for 8 hours a day playing Call of Duty. Call of Duty releases a new gun, you know what I'm saying? Then they make a YouTube content spinning off of that, telling people, oh, this gun does this, and watch me play for the next 10 minutes, you know, doing that. And you can spin off more content and more content. So why not take that approach to, you know, when it comes to career building, entrepreneurship, your finances, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of different things where we could, you know, watch something play out in real life, spin off content about that, and then share that information in the community. So that's all it is, like really just trying to provide the most value with this platform as possible. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. No, that's real though. Like I could definitely empathize with like feeling like you lose yourself in the brand, you know what I mean? And allowing yourself to like just kind of get wrapped up in the brand and just kind of losing your creative outlook and like those kind of things, you know. I feel like it's really important to have a point of view and be able to like protect that point of view, especially as a creative, you know, because we have the internet like at our fingertips, right? So we have the ability to build like our own corporations, right? I think we was talking about this, and it's like, you know, like media and entertainment and, you know, all of these different things is in a place that it's never been before, and everyone can participate in it, you know what I mean? And everyone can build out a niche. So I think like just that vision of being able to like look at what you've done, what you've already built, look at the skills you've already like developed, you know, and be able to then apply that and like spin that off into other aspects of life too. Because I think what's really dope and what really connects with me about I Am Root is like, and just like what the conference is, what you've done, and like what this whole vision is about is like being able to bridge that gap of like, yo, here's what like people like actually go through in real life, you know, and how they're working through these things as creatives, as they're building their brand or their enterprise or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So I think that's super dope, you know, and it's super sick to like be a part of it. So I appreciate that.
For sure, man. It's like a game like that is stuff that I would have like paid for coming up, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have many mentors, like, you know what I'm saying, to be able to say, yo, Don, do this. Like I was just 22 playing events, like trying to figure it out. But I feel like where I'm at now is like, yo, the things that I would have wanted and in my emerging, like my start, like I want to be able to provide for people. So
that's real.
And with the connection that I made, you know what I'm saying, just doing events and doing music as well, like I feel like I know enough people to be able to be that platform, have people come through, sit down with me or sit down with the platform and like share their stories. So,
for sure. No, that's real, bro. That's dope. I'm excited to be a part of it. Like one thing that I was thinking about, like when you talked about, you know, like you make a beat and it's for I Am Root, or you like come up with a design and it's for I Am Root, and all these different things. How are you like processing your next step? What are some of the like key components, like indicating factors that are like, all right, this is something that I should pursue. This is something I should like put my stamp on as like an individual, right? And say like, yo, when you see this, you see me, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So when it comes to that, man, honestly, it's truly about like what I feel like doing. So just like, again, like I do care about like the quality of opportunities that I'm providing, like in what capacity are we able to like execute that, whatever that idea is. Can we do that and can we do it well? And if so, then I want to jump on it like ASAP, because I know I got the streaming PC or we got the cameras, like you know, we got the ability to pull that off. So let's do it. So when we talk about like how do I like process it, it's just like in terms of like just thinking about the opportunity in front of me and if I got the resources to do it. And then in terms of like on the morality side of things, it's just like, does this align with like who we want to become? That knowledge sharing, that pillar in the community that people look at and they're like, yo,
substance.
That's the group that I know that if I tap in with them, it's not gonna be like I feel like I lost my money or like I'm wasting my time. Like I want people to feel like when they invest in I Am Root, their time, their expensive, if that's buying a ticket, if that's donating, or if it's just like telling somebody like, yo, I mess with this brand, you should go check them out. Like if any, if our audience is like doing that for us, I want to be able to, execute on our end. If that's providing a dope ass show because they told someone that, yo, anytime I've gone to an Iron Root event, I've had a great time. So we want to execute on that end. Or if it's just the business end, business to business. If another business is like, yo, you should work with that Iron Root brand. Like we want to come through on our end to make sure like we're providing that quality across the board to our consumers, but also to other businesses.
Yeah, no, that's dope, man. I think substance, bro, like substance, like especially in this day and age when you're building business and like, you're wanting to create some type of value, you want an enterprise, like you can easily not bring real value to the market. It's easy not to bring real value to the market, but like when you work to bring real value to the market, I believe that ultimately like that shows up karmically in like many different areas and aspects of your life, you know what I mean? So again, that's something that I really resonate with as far as like your brand goes and who you are as a person, You was talking about like getting connected up because obviously the event is at the Moxie where we're at right now, which is super sick. And like, you got a chance to work with them, but then also like the city of Tempe, and then you also like did some work with like some community colleges in Los Angeles, like and some different things like that. How was that? Like, how did you start to get into like those networks, you know what I mean? Where you have a platform to kind of speak on some of this stuff.
So for City of Tempe specifically, like one of our brand members, Naime, she had got a grant like back in 2016 or 17, and so I saw how that played out and I'm like, all right, I gotta sign up, like, and see at least like, if I don't get it, then I can learn how to do it better. So I just started getting tapped in on the grants and just understanding like the platform that I'm building. A lot of people will get behind if I just tell that story.
Right.
Most often, like I'm not the guy in the room that's going to demand the most attention, but often when I get that one-on-one with somebody, like they can actually see the vision behind what I have going on, and even the story. Like I'm able to like connect. So I was just like, all right, if I bring that story to the page, you know what I'm saying, and apply for some grants. And start there. So that's where my relationship with the city of Tempe came. We started to do some edge events over at Tempe Center for the Arts where we'll curate like little events, 2-hour events where we showcase talent or we just create a vibe for 2 hours and it's open to the public. People can come through and do that. And then in terms of like with the community colleges, like we started out here actually with like Scottsdale Community College doing Black history, and that was just honestly the strength of the community. Like somebody that's just come through to the shows. So many of our Iron Root events, they worked at Scottsdale Community College. So they were looking for talent and people to help with their Black History Month celebrations. And then he threw our name out there. They reached out to us for paid opportunities, and we were like, tapped in on there. So with the LA thing, it's a relationships again. Like one of my high school, like she wasn't my teacher in high school, but she led the Black Student Union. So again, like just me being consistent on my grind with my publishing my book and running this business, she threw my name out there to kind of be on a panel and kind of speak to other writers about the process of publishing a book and like going through my journey. And then so when I was done with that, they were just like, yo, like you seem like you got a lot more going on besides like just the book side of things. Like, have you put on any workshops? And we had just run one, Travis, myself, and the homie Shallow in the Deep. We just did a creative writing workshop. So they were in the market for workshops. So, they pretty much tapped in with us on that and kind of booked us. And pretty much from there, they allowed me to send them some other names too, though. Like, so that's what I like. Like, I don't like just getting opportunities myself because, like, again, like I'm the root. So I love being behind the scenes and like tapping other people. So I sent them some names of some folks out here that will actually be at the Root Conference. So I also get connected with Compton College so that they're able to pretty much like do workshops as well, but also just be in that database. And the mindset behind that ultimately is like, I can't keep like, when it comes to the market, if it's my apparel, if it's the events, like I'm not expecting my like demo here to make me rich, like, what I'm saying, or make the brand rich in terms of like profit margin. Like I want that money to come from other places with actual funding sources, like, what I'm saying, that's looking to spend money to bring brands in to make things happen. So with that in mind, it's like, we still want to do the events and do the shows to give the community that quality, but I want to tap in with these people with the budget, what I'm saying, that want to bring us in introduce us to their communities, because like what we've done with our community. So I just want our work to be an example of what we can do for other people in other areas and communities.
Now that's hard. RootCon 2022. What's the story? What's the what, the why, the how, and what what can the people expect? From RootCon, and then like this is the first one. So where do you want to take it? Like what's the next? Like what's the vision for it?
Man, absolutely. So this has been a dream come true, honestly. Like since well before 2019. Like it's been a culmination of where we want to transition the brand.
Yeah.
But also like taking a lot of what Travis has been working with, like in terms of media ecology and ways that we could really build community using language to connect with people and like better access like like our recreational environments. It's like it's cool we can practice self-care and have our personal environments be like well taken care of, but like when we go outside now, we at the Moxie, we interacting with people, like how are we able to communicate what we need, you know what I'm saying, or ways that we could also help somebody else. So with all of that in mind, it's just like finding a way to bring a community together, share experiences, figure out the best way to create success from those experiences or build with other people. So when we talk about RootCon, it's just like in our way, it's our way of like kicking that off. Now, we want to start it off with, in terms of what to expect, we want to kick things off with like a keynote address, and we want to have different workshops from people in the community that have either started businesses, or, they're full-time musicians, full-time artists, because in the spaces that we're in, we work with a lot of folks that are working a job, but also they really want to be that independent artist. They really want to be that full-time entrepreneur that doesn't have to clock into the 9 to 5. So I want to bring people into this conference that can share information, real life information about what that'll take, you know what I'm saying? And what that looks like in reality. Or, what that looks like balancing both. I got the 9 to 5, but I'm also running this business. So what kind of mental capacity do I need to be successful in this space? Sure. Because not everybody can be that full-time artist. And we are in a day and age of multiple revenue streams. So you can't just be that poet. You can't just be that rapper. You can't just be that singer. You got to know how to run a TikTok page, or you got to at least know how to hop on Canva and make a little design real quick to promote what you got coming up. Or low key, you need to be an event planner so you can set up your release and do some merch stuff. Like it's a lot of other avenues that you need to supplement your career, where you may not always be able to hire somebody real quick and do that. You need to learn how to do that skill yourself. If that's hop on the computer and do things like that. So when we talk about the Root Conference, it's a little bit of that, like really letting people tap into that story. And the theme for the conference is staying rooted in the digital age, because like things are moving fast, times are moving fast. It's a lot of technology that's being introduced to us. So we need to understand how to manage that, how that could work for our career, how that could work for our personal lives. And when we talk about the future of RootCon, it's just more of that. Like we want to, survey the community, identify problems, obstacles that people are running into, and then that RootCon is that place where we problem solve, where we find those solutions, where we hash out those conversations about what it'll take to get from being I don't know, whatever the issue of that time is. Like I'm speaking down the road, so like if we're in a space where like now NFTs are the thing, like you got to have an NFT, and for some reason with all the information available to us, people aren't still tapped in. If it's a requirement, then like RootCon will address it at some point. You know what I'm saying? It's just like not just NFTs, but like anything that's created in the world that's necessary for an artist or an entrepreneur to know. That we want to be able to provide value in that space or bring people in that could. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. No, that's dope, bro. That's dope. I love that, like that whole vision, because it's like, when I think about that, it's like, all right, if only like we knew as like young creatives like what it actually took to like build our own platform in a way, like the nitty gritty of it. You know what I mean? Of like, oh, I got to figure out how to pay these bills, or I'm gonna be on couches and doing this and doing that like for X amount of time, which is cool too. But some people don't want that aspect of it, and some people want to have like be able to have like two things going on. So it's like I always say like two things can be true, Then the other piece to that is like being able to build enough like experience, right? Like you said, you might have to be an event planner, you might have to be a designer, you might have to be this or do that, where it's like, I can do enough of this stuff, and then eventually I'll have a big enough portfolio, or I might have a big enough like resume, right? I'll have enough things on my resume that are tangible that I can step into one of these bigger corporations or these companies and say, hey, I can bring X, Y, or Z value to you, and you should pay me X, whatever, right? As a contractor, you can get you a job if you want to, like whatever the case may be. I think that's really valuable and really important for like, especially like young creators coming up, now. I think they understand that, and we don't necessarily need jobs with like the internet and like all these different things or whatever, but it's like just knowing what your options are, and knowing how you can go about different things. So that's dope, man. That's fire. I'm excited, dog. I'm excited for what else is to come, bro. I'm excited for the conference, And it's gonna be dope, man. It's gonna be a good turnout for sure. So
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you sitting here having a conversation with me for sure.
Yeah,
You know
this
what I
is
mean?
awesome.
And we'll keep it rocking, bro. So.
Can you believe that? Can you believe we don't have a jacuzzi?